podcast. Today is the mentioned Manchester United special. As you can see, we have a special guest joining us. Koku is our feature today from the Checking VAR podcast. Definitely look it up. They've been making great content for over 2 years now, so definitely give them a listen. But we haven't gotten the chance to discuss United a ton as we have no resident fans in the house. So really, we wanted to have a let it all out bash session on United today. We really want to hear Koku voice his frustrations, his thoughts on the season, and we'll also definitely chime in with what we've seen and what we're thinking. So let's just kick it off right away. I think, it's been a disappointing season, I think, by all measures. I know once Ronaldo came in, I was hearing first or second place, nothing less. Now, what are you guys? Maybe fifth or sixth, really fighting for top four, but I don't think it's looking great. But Koku, I would love to hear your perspective on like what you think has gone wrong so far, and really where do you go from here?
Um, yeah, thanks everyone for having me.
Yeah,
Honestly, this is one of the
welcome.
worst. Yeah,
Just
this is one of the
roasted him
worst
for a whole
seasons
minute.
I've watched. Nah, this is one of the worst seasons I've experienced in recent memory. I think what makes it different is because going to the season, Man U fans had hope. And normally, it's hope based on just past history of the club, but now it's hope based on what we did last season and the signings we made. We signed Sancho, Varane, Ronaldo came back. No team makes those signings and is still competing for fourth place.
Those are world class, absolute
Yeah,
elite players.
yeah. Like we made those signings and we're supposed to be pushing for the title, not competing with West Ham and Arsenal, fourth position. Like it's a bit embarrassing. So to be honest with you, I've been on a sabbatical. Because I just wasn't finding joy in watching and flow in watching games anymore. Like I think I lost it when we played Liverpool. We lost 5-0.
That's fair.
Ever since then, to be honest, I was zoned out when it came to the season. I mean, I didn't watch the Leeds game, and I saw that was 4-2, and I'm like, man, the one match I've missed in like 2 years, and we won 4-2. Should have worked for the game, 0-0. I was like, man, nothing has changed.
I
I
have a
don't know.
question for you.
Yeah.
I speak on it here a little more off camera than that. Tottenham has this happen to them a lot, and it's the reason I don't watch a lot. You say you're taking a sabbatical from the team. I take a lot of those from Tottenham. I think Man U's problem, and let me know if you think this is proper, is they lack the identity because they haven't had a coach, a proper coach in 2 years. We went through the interim process twice, I believe, recently for them. You had what, four managers in the space of 4 years. Nobody has stayed there. Nobody has like been a personality. Obviously, Sir Alex was there 30 years before and was the generational club at the time. And they're always striving to get back to that, but they're doing something. They're doing it in a manner that to me looks completely. It will never get to the end goal they're going to because who's going to be manager next season? Who's going to be manager? They guys might get a new manager this week. I hear like it's already in the tabloids. So
Nah, you've raised good points. They need to stop channeling Bergie era and all that BS. It's in the past. It'll forever be in the past. They need to segue into a new version of Manu. That has nothing to do with Ferguson, and I think that's the main problem. He still seems to have like some influence in the background, which I don't like. You take Arsenal for example. Wenger left. He's now at FIFA. He's forgotten about Arsenal because there's a separation. I like that. I don't know why Ferguson is still hanging around. I mean, he should hang around, but if you've left, you've left. I'm hearing he called Ronaldo to personally tell him to come. Come on, man. I'm hearing that he's like having some like it's too much. Like even when Solskjaer was around, all he kept talking about was the United way to take us back to the days of
You
Fergie
think someone
ball.
needs to kind of create their own Man United way and just like
Yes.
kind of
Yes.
stop trying to live in Ferguson's shadow, stop trying to do
Yep.
like the runner up
Come
like
in.
David Moyes was supposed to be, just trying to set their own path.
Yeah. Man, you're
To
bringing.
elaborate on my thought,
Mhm.
I'm sorry to cut you
Oh,
off. The
no.
personality thing on the pitch. So when I see Man United play,
Or it's like a
I
playing style.
yeah, every
Yeah.
game looks a little different. You never know what they're going to come out and do because the players don't
Yeah.
really know what they're doing. And Tottenham does this. They have this system and we try to
Mhm.
do it. And when it doesn't work, the games are abysmal to watch. I sat here and watched Burnley lose 1-0 last week with Forest. And it's one of those games that from like the 4th minute, I can see we're going to get outplayed this game. The team just isn't there. And with Man United, when I watch them, I see the same thing. I can immediately see the disjointedness. They have their moments. They have these brilliant players. Don't get me wrong. Bruno Fernandes, Ronaldo, they're world-class players. Pogba, they have their moments, but they don't have the cohesiveness and a personality of a team whatsoever to me.
Yeah, and they've been through a lot. 2 years of Ole. Then Ragnick comes in. He's trying to implement a pressing style. He realizes that style, midway through the season, is going to do more wrong than right. Kind of having to just a little bit. I don't know, man. I think on the grand scheme of things, you watch. So let's take Liverpool and Chelsea and Man City as case studies. 10 managers that would usher the club into a new era, and they've done that. Liverpool club came in, boys gegenpressing. Liverpool into a whole new era. Pep came in, 10 years. He's been there. I think club 2 like 7. They've been there for a lengthy period, and you can the club is ingrained in their philosophy. I don't know what the club is ingrained in. So I think the end on this, not to end, to conclude, we need to bring in a manager that is young and is. I'm hearing Ten Hag. So we know Ten Hag as a philosophy. Check. Okay. Bring him in. Let him be there for 6-7 years. Let him, ingrain the philosophy in Man U. I'm hearing Pochettino. I don't know what Pochettino's philosophy is. I mean, he's good at the fundamentals.
Before you came in here, we were just talking. This was going to be our swing point. I'll ask you this. We can give everybody else's opinion as to who they think. We were talking about potential managers, and obviously we just listed Pochettino and Ten Hag as the first two. And me being a Tottenham fan, they were asking like, why are you like? I was going for Ten Hag. I'd say if I was a Man U fan, I'd want Ten Hag all the way. They're like, you're a Pochettino fan. Force, like he got you to the Champions League final. Why would you? Because I know Pochettino's play style. It worked for 3.5 years at Tottenham, and you saw when the players stopped buying into it, how quickly it stopped working. Man United does not have the players and the system for a manager like that to come in and do successful. You're right. You need Ten Hag, a revolutionary type of different style of manager that comes in, and they have to give him time. I do not know if the Man United brass is patient enough to give a manager 6-7 years, especially if he fails, man.
Even to honorable managers, I think I also want us to take a risk when it comes to managers. You look at Italy. I don't know if you guys follow Serie A. Inter sacked. No, Conte left. Go Inzaghi. Why don't we go for someone like Inzaghi? I watched the Liverpool Inter game, and although Inter lost, man, they were playing some brilliant stuff.
Yeah, they were all over Liverpool that game.
Yeah. Why don't we take a risk? Even Spalletti, I mean, it's kind of old. But what he's doing in Napoli is quite impressive. Even when you go to France, what's in the dude's name? Leo won the French league last season. And I think the coach is now a Nice. That guy I've forgotten the name, but not bad. These young managers. Even the Sporting Lisbon, it's unfortunate they got trashed by Man City in the Champions League. But their coach is also, So I don't know. Tough. Good luck to whoever they bring in. Because
Man United is definitely a club that suffers from success, though. They've had so much past success that their fans demand nothing but the best.
Yep.
So you guys don't have the opportunity to employ. Yeah.
Yep.
Right.
Yep. There's no patience.
Yeah, if you can get a new manager in there, someone who can implement a system like you're saying, like, I mean, you saw what happened with Chelsea. We had Lampard for the first half of the season and switched to Tuchel, and it's like a whole new squad. Like, the roster is there for Man U. It's just like that execution or something is lacking.
Yeah,
and one thing I look at with United, I love what you said there, Koku, about like Fergie lurking in the shadows. Like every big match, they show depressed Fergie sitting somewhere in the stands. like looking down, like what's happened to my baby. But no, I do think like to an extent he should distance himself from the club. Like you said, he's still like calling the shots. It's almost weird. And then I look at like United's roster, like the fact that like Matic and like Juan Mata is still on the team, like
And
that shit shocks me. Like I was watching like FA Cup, I see Mata I was like, wait, he still plays there? Like it's just carrying these deadwood players earning these crazy wages. And I know like one of our past episodes, we've talked a lot about Everton and how they're just all over the place. And Man U's like Everton on steroids, where it's just throwing darts and hoping something will stick. Like every 2 years, there's a new manager. He talks about this new philosophy. I'm going to bring in these 3 players, and they're always these, older players who have a lot of experience, but older players aren't moldable like a young system, young coaches. And I think it's just crazy to see like they just keep striving for that, like you said, that past success when they really just need to accept and kind of restart. And we looked at Liverpool when Klopp took over. I mean, the team was in shambles. Like we were starting players like Jordan Ibe, Girdle, like Lucas Leiva, who's a legend, but he had no right to be on that team at that point. And I do totally agree. I think it's just been crazy to see. And I know we'd love to get your thoughts. If you were to rate, like, I want to hear what you'd rate the Ronaldo signing out of 10, the Sancho signing out of 10, and the Varane signing out of 10 at this point so far.
Ronaldo is a tough one.
At the start of the season, you must have said he must have been like an 8, 9 out of 10. When he was scoring like game after game, he was saving everyone's like fantasy Premier League, but then he's just kind of like dipped off of those first few weeks in the Premier League.
Yeah. Ronaldo, I think it's good that they didn't make him go to Man City though, because he would have done very well there. Because Man City, I don't know if you guys look, but those guys just dominate the ball. Ronaldo doesn't have to do any pressing. There's no pressing to be done. Then so he would have been the perfect, penalty box poacher, their system.
Yeah.
So I think that was also one of the main reasons why Mane had to intercept. So like, man, him going to Man City. But the rate of signing, I'll say around that's like a 6, It's a nice 6. I'll say maybe 7 because he's our top scorer. And in the Champions League, actually, he helped us a lot progress to the knockout stage. So maybe like a 6.5, I would say. Yeah. Sancho, man, I love that dude. He's still young, only 21.
Give him time.
Yeah. So I can't be too harsh on him right now. I'll say it's like a 5. Like he's been decent. Varane, he's been injured for like maybe 40% of the time. Whenever he plays, you can see we don't consider lots of goals when he plays. And I say maybe like a 7, Varane has done well. He's done what has been expected of him. Yeah. So I mean,
Was
that's the
Varane
thing.
free, or was he signed for a transfer fee?
Yeah, so I think he had like 1 year left on his contract at Madrid. So we got it for cheap, like
That is
20
correct.
mil. Yeah, like 20 mil.
At the end of the
It's alright.
day, we do live in a capitalistic society still. And as a fan, Ronaldo, that buzz he created alone at the beginning of the season, like we were talking about, that hope your team had alone, was enough to get you interested at the start of the season,
Mhm.
I'm sure. It had news. Man U is the biggest club in the world. That was the biggest news.
Yeah, he
That's what I
probably
was
paid for his
thinking.
price in jersey sales in that first week alone.
You have to
Yeah,
be
you can't
grateful-
refuse that
You have to
return.
be grateful your team can make signings like you did this summer because of doing things like this. That's a business decision at the end of the day still. So you have to look at his performance at one thing, because I know we love to sit here and bash players or love them for their great performances, but it is a business decision at the end of the day, and they were good business decisions if you look at them comparatively to some of the things other teams are doing in the league with their money.
Yeah, just a quick question actually. So wait, so I'm guessing Bryce, you support Spurs. Okay, I think it's a Liverpool fan. But Trey, you were mentioning Lampard. So you're a Chelsea fan, right?
Yeah.
And Harry, I don't know. I didn't catch what team you support.
Full fan as well.
Liverpool, and then I think Forest. You were supporting. I know you mentioned like Burnley or something. I can't remember.
Yeah.
Wow. I like that. Hey, man, I think is there a part where we talk about Spurs? Because I have so much to ask.
Of course,
To
go
say.
ahead. You can speak your mind. Go
Oh,
ahead.
We talk about Spurs a lot.
Yeah, go
I'm
ahead.
here
Man, what
for
is
it. Let's go.
what is man. So when I watched the Amazon documentary, right? Daniel Levy came across to me as, a very strategic businessman that knew what he was doing. And I'm not too sure what has gone wrong. I think it's not like you guys didn't haven't made signings. They just haven't worked out. Like I'm thinking of like,
So
yeah, and
you hit the
Dombele was
nail right
supposed
on the
to.
head.
Mm-hmm.
You're hitting it right on the damn head. We're making signings. We've had, I believe, 4 managers now in 2 years, I think. Maybe, check me, it might be 3. Jose stayed a little longer. And none of
Mourinho.
the players that we brought in have A, been given time to adapt, and B, been given time to adapt under the coach that brought them in to play their system. So when
Mhm.
we keep having this rotation of coaches, you have these mix match of players sitting on the reserves sometimes. And Dombele, our record signing, for example, was sitting on the reserves for 2 straight coaches because his attitude was terrible. He was brought in to be a creative midfielder for Jose and do one thing. And then when other coaches came in and they wanted him to be this other role of carrying the ball and coming back and pressing in this like deep 5-3-2 that Jose and Conte at the end, but Nuno, I forgot his name.
Nuno.
I'm calling him the old Wolves coach, Nuno Espirito. Yeah, his
I
system.
forget he was there.
Right, that was so unforgettable as well. But so many managers have come in. Nobody's brought this personality I just talked about. I don't know what I know what I'm gonna see with Conte now. I don't know how what I'm gonna see is gonna perform anymore.
The Tottenham signings never really live up to the hype. I mean, we can go to Dele Alli or Ndombele. Like when Chelsea signed players, I remember Kovacic and Jorginho when they first got there. They really weren't all that. And I mean, now look at Jorginho winning fucking crazy amount of titles and championships and all that. Kovacic looks amazing now every time he goes out there and plays. But
Oh,
like it just
Lukaku.
seems like Tottenham can, I mean, Lukaku, it's fine. We'll give him another year or two, but yeah,
I
something
don't
with
think
that
he'll give
Tottenham
you all year,
midfield, bro.
My final point on the matter, and it ties right into what you said, Trey. You were just mentioning big signings. Jorginho and Kovacic, I know, were fairly expensive, right, from big teams at the time. Chelsea is such a deep club with so much past history and success and money and a deep team that
2000.
you guys can afford. Well, I'm just saying in the last 15 years, like not history. You guys have such a like rich history recently of being good that you can afford to immediately resupply the reserves, the bench, and your starting roles when you need them. When Tottenham makes a big signing, if that player doesn't go in, I have to go out and watch Harry Winks come in and pass the fucking ball for 90 minutes again. Like,
And I'd love to speak on this little,
Go
like
ahead, man.
what you said there. I feel like this is something that Tottenham and Arsenal really run into. And Chelsea and Liverpool do a great job at avoiding this. Even Man U, I don't know, Man U just extends these players that should be gone. But Tottenham
Fred.
like devalues their assets. So does Arsenal, to where like Chelsea, you still see players getting sold for 20 mil. Chelsea has the loan army. Those players are always
Yeah.
getting sold to fund the club. But Tottenham, like you said, Ndombele, he's stuck in the reserves. Now he's on loan. You'd be lucky to get back like 30 mil of that 70 mil you paid for him. And I think Arsenal runs into that too, where they just damage these assets to the point where they're almost worthless when they're ready to leave the club. Like you have to know when to sell. And I think like Levy, he doesn't like Koku. You said he's a shrewd businessman. He really is. He knows what he's doing. But when someone offers you 150 mil for Dele Alli,
Man,
you take that. Like
that Kane thing he did is so. I don't know, Bryce. What's your opinion on that? Man City come
Which matter are you referring to? The transfer
Like-
saga this summer?
like Man City come to you 150 mil for Kane. You can use that money to rebuild your squad.
Yeah.
You say no, you keep an unhappy Kane in your squad. What did you make? In fact, so many questions. What do you make of I don't know. I've been seeing him. You see Premier League ready midfielder Emerson Royale. I see
You could have done like a Liverpool Coutinho then with
Reguilon
that
is even
money.
playing anymore.
It's
Conte
funny.
doesn't-
It's funny you bring that up because I almost kind of like have to put that into the back of my mind to watch Spurs play. Because if you're sitting there with the thought that this striker that is our captain out there, or our co-captain, Lloris, our captain, acting like he loves the club, and then you remember 6 months ago he had a gentleman's agreement and said he wanted to walk out the door. I have to put that to the back of my mind to even enjoy watching Tottenham, for one. Okay, two. At the time, I completely respected Harry Kane. He had, been very professional about it and had completely like lost the allure of like hoping to keep him. I completely accepted he was going to City. So for me to see that was at first hard to like understand because I thought it was a done deal. When the money came, he was going. And I know Man City only got up to I think 110, and Levy being the businessman we want to call him. I want to use a different term because that the way he was
What's your
acting was
use?
something else. But he really was penny pinching at the end, man, and he let what Parker said. We devalue our assets. We do. We love players that really do things for the club. Like they can do little things. Dele Alli was like this one season wonder super kid, and we thought he was going to be the next best thing. We held on to him forever, and I don't know.
Agree.
I wanted the money. I wanted to make like big signings right then with the money. And as we got later into the month as well, and I knew we didn't have time to do all the transfer saga with the money. I was just like, I guess I hope he stays. But I mean, uh, like Parker said, sometimes people got to go. When Kane was playing terrible at the beginning of the season, it was so easy to write him off and hate him too. But recently, he's coming to form and showing me like he is one of the best strikers to ever be in the Prem. I'm just appreciative he's here. I hope he has a great season. Maybe he goes at the end of this season even. I don't know, but
And I have a thought that I thought Harry had a great shout where he said when we sold Coutinho for the world record fee, like the squad was ascending. I mean, this was like 2018, I think, a year before our Champions League win, 2 years before the Premier League win, and like he was essential to the team, but for like 160 mil, I mean, we reinvested that money, bought Alisson, bought some players that we just absolutely needed instead of that like that sentimental value where like we don't want to let go of this best player. We don't know what he's going to become. And like Sterling, even years ago, he was forcing his way out of the club, and we didn't hold on to him, force him to be here until he was so unhappy that we're getting a little baby transfer fee of what we could have gotten. I think you got to know when to let go. And I just don't think Levy understands that. But yeah, I'm curious if anyone.
Yeah, I'd say there's no way you even get 100 million for Harry Kane this summer if you try and sell him.
You're muted, Bryce, I think.
thank you. I was gonna say I agree with you, Harry. We get less than that now. And for one closing thought on this, Parker, I completely agree with your saying about devaluing. But on the other end of the scale, we never keep the players we need to. Alderweireld and Jan Vertonghen,
yeah.
we were talking about it, or they're old. They didn't want that high of wages. They wanted to stay. They would have been so much more solid than throwing Dyer and Davinson Sanchez back there to fuck up every game I watch. Ben Davies at left
center back.
Right.
Yeah, I
we
mean,
talked about this.
Juventus did that same shit. They had Chiellini and Bonucci back there. Chiellini's like damn near 40,
I
and
was
he's
gonna
still
use
putting in a
Chelsea.
shift.
I was going to use
Yeah.
Chelsea as my example. As Piliqueta, Marcus Alonso,
Thiago
two
Silva.
defenders in their third. I'm just saying these are led club, not legends, fucking club members that have been there for years.
They are club legends.
I mean, in a sense, yes. As Piliqueta most definitely is. But yeah, these are players in their late 30s that the club has kept around, kept on a decent wage, like they can afford it, and they do. And these players have produced into their late 30s and been a voice in the dressing room that needed to be there. Tottenham doesn't keep the right players, and they keep the wrong ones for way too long and devalue them. You're right. The team is like doing one of these. You're always fighting against the decisions of the brass rather than your team going through just good form. And it's a shame.
Even like you does. And like if a player wants to leave, let them leave. Man City do it very well. Ferran Torres wanted to leave. No questions asked.
We
can
were
leave.
that before. Yep.
Man, Pogba has been wanting to leave for about 3 years now. We are keeping that guy hostage.
You just keep throwing money at him. How much is he on a week now? He must be on like 350k a week.
Man, now don't even let me guess.
Why would he want to go anywhere else?
Our wage structure is horrible. It's
We keep
horrible.
comparing
Yeah.
Tottenham and
It's a
Arsenal
whole other
here.
topic, yeah.
We keep comparing Tottenham and Arsenal here. We're drawing a lot of parallels between us and Man U. We do be performing at the same level a lot now too. So, goddamn.
Banter clubs.
And I'm
I got
Tottenham
curious.
wishes they were Man U.
Right.
One more thought
Yeah,
before we
Tottenham
kind of move off
definitely.
Man U here. Like, what's up with Rashford this season? Where, like, I could see him playing on Everton like 2 years from now. I feel like that's his level. But I mean, he was like the wonder kid, the golden boy. He who shall not be named, the other golden boy who looks like he's
man,
not gonna play again. Yeah,
he's going to jail.
Greenwood. Yeah. I'm curious,
Younger.
like, what's up with Rashford? Because, like, what do you think? What's gone wrong there?
He pays too much attention to what people say about him. I think that's his main problem. I mean, and I don't blame him. You know, we're all born in the social media generation, so it's hard to stay off social media. He logs onto Twitter, he sees people call him a knobhead. He's a waste man. Charlie, man, that guy. So I think that's the main problem. He carries the weight of what people are saying of him online on the pitch. You can see it. He's not playing freely. I think that's something I feel like Liverpool, for example, their players do a good job of. Salah doesn't care. Well, I feel like people don't even say bad things about Salah because he's amazing in money. So I don't know. Rashford, he's still young. I think that's the thing about these players. He's like 24. So it's okay. We'll give him some time. But he's been horrid. He's not progressing as you'd want him to progress. And I think all comes down also to the manager longevity thing. He's not had a manager for more than, I think, 2 seasons.
He must have so much pressure on his shoulders as well.
Yeah. So that's like Mourinho came in 2 years, he was out. Ole came in. He was progressing under Ole. Ole has left. Now Ranić has come. He's having to learn a whole new system. Take a player like Phil Foden, for example, or even anyone in Man City. They've had Pep's guidance for 5+ years, and you can see it. It's helping them. Or even Liverpool. Young players are Man U. It's too much change and chopping. And, it's affecting. I don't know, imagine you guys at work. You have a new manager to look up to every review cycle. That's going to affect your work. I think that's what's going on with the Man U players. Anyway, Man U just makes me sad right now. So let's even change it. Let's change the topic.
It's funny. I've never heard someone say though that a player lets pressure get to them more than others, like due to social media. But now that you mention it, the players that perform the best are the ones you rarely ever see getting abuse. Son, Mane, Salah. Like when you're talking about players playing freely, like when they mess up, the only reason they're mad is they're mad at themselves. They're not mad because the fans are fucking berating them. Really, universally love players that just go out there and play the game, and I think it shows in their play sometimes. So it's pretty insightful, actually.
Yeah, it takes
Shout
a
out to
special
Burnley.
kind of. It takes a special person to be able to like look through all that social media noise and just ignore it. I mean, some people can use it as like a chip on your shoulder or something, but like I feel like most people shatter under that type of pressure. That's like
day after day of receiving abuse, even the motivation would still crumble you, man. Like to constantly receive hatred for anything wrong you do, at some point you're gonna break it at one point, and these young players don't know how to handle it as well as others, I guess. Also, they're more exposed to it because they are younger.
Russell Westbrook would know that.
sure.
Yeah.
But,
No, for real. The NBA is a great example of that. Players play terrible because I think the abuse they get online sometimes.
well,
Yeah.
Katie is the opposite. He
what
be
are we
cooking
thinking
on
of?
Twitter get told.
We also have a new Leeds coach. We have
Right.
Jesse March.
American.
Yeah, the American
Oh,
coach.
nice.
Second
plays
ever
a
American.
4-4-2.
Ted Lasso coming in.
I still think Leeds are going down. They're still in my relegation. They're my
they're
new
sinking
relegation
ship.
favorite. They weren't in my original.
I think he'll help because like Bielsa ball was just all, and I know we talked a little bit about this last episode. It was, we don't care who we're going to play against. We're going to play that open attacking soccer, that flowing play. And like, yeah, that'll get you results in the championship and against the bottom 5 teams for the most part. But when you come up against, the top 6, like where players are better man for man, you're going to get killed. And that's just what's been happening to them. All those like 4-2, 3-1, 5-2 losses. And like, I love how Burnley, they can play without, I know we talked about social media pressure. I feel like there's no expectation there. Every season it's just, oh, Burnley's still around. Like they beat the drop again with no investment. I think like Sean Dyche is probably the most underrated manager in the world. And they have like a play style that will work against any team. Not to say it's like exciting or fun to watch, but it's effective. It gets results.
I think it's fun to watch. I think I
Because
think
he
that
bought into the shithousery.
I hate playing against Burnley.
well, they got exposed
Right.
by Leicester. It was just like they lost their captain there, and then Ben Mee, and then they got that like Irish guy, I forget his name, to come in, but he was pretty young. But they were just so out of position and just kind of
You're
lazy.
saying your captain is the linchpin in the wall.
Oh, he's a linchpin for the defense.
I saw JB Vardy as well saying that the Burnley fans stunk. He was going like this to the crowd.
They do stink. I've been telling you stink, Forrest.
I mean, Liverpool like barely got lucky on that EFL Cup. I mean, it was the flukiest thing I've probably ever seen this season.
Oh no, we don't need to go back to
he's
the
gonna bring it
EFL
back
Cup. I missed out on that
And
episode on the
congrats on your,
EFL Cup.
Mickey Mouse trophy too.
Oh, the Mickey Mouse. No, props to Liverpool. That game was crazy. Mason Mount, I blame him for that. He had too many good chances. He was coming back off injury. This is
Into
totally
Chelsea,
off topic,
Trey.
but
We need to tie into them because we obviously heard the big news today. We spoke on
ownership.
this, the new ownership coming.
Roman.
Yeah.
Thoughts on the sell?
Start saving up your pennies.
I mean, I like Roman Abramovich. I'm not like loyal to a guy I've never met before. I mean, he was a great owner the whole time. He supported the club with everything we needed, made signings, wasn't afraid to spend or sack a manager. But I guess we'll see with the new ownership how it turns out. And I don't think it should affect us too much with Tuchel still at the helm.
I think you'll learn to appreciate ownership and great ownership, especially.
No, he was amazing.
Especially if you see a dud owner come in, because as we spoke on Levy and Woodward and Manu and everything in the past,
Glazes,
Kroenke. Ownership can ruin your club. They can.
Hopefully we get like Jeff Bezos to buy the team, and then we'll have so much money it doesn't matter.
I heard that Conor McGregor is willing to put in a bid. I don't think he's worth it.
Nah, yeah, he definitely doesn't have enough.
He's
money,
tripping. Chelsea's gonna sell for like billions of dollars, and I think it's a great thing that he's donating the net profits from the sale to the efforts in Ukraine. But I'm also very wary of his involvement, and I know he's been under investigation since 2019 for links to the Kremlin. But I do think it'll be like a new era. I think Chelsea was one of the few clubs that could spend like a city or now a Newcastle because they were almost backed by a country. Like Abramovich was so wealthy. I think it'll be interesting seeing. I know you said like the Glazers and Kroenke who are just like sucking money out of the club. And then we see like a John Henry, Liverpool's owner, where the investment has to be much more strategic. We're only bringing in maybe one player a window and then just like a few young players that can really develop. So I think there will be changes, but I also think I'm seeing so much like stuff on Twitter like, oh my God, Roman, you did so much for this club. Like, never going to recover. But I think at the same time, it's like they're a huge brand, one of the biggest supported clubs in the world. I just don't think they're going to get this penny pinching owner coming in. So I think that's been a little overhyped, but I think it'll be a more level playing field for the rest of the league. So I'm happy about it.
Well, I agree. I was going to say the same thing. I wasn't saying, a total overhaul is going to come in where someone like Levy is going to pinch every penny out of Chelsea. Nobody that buys the club can afford to do that there. They would.
Yeah, we're not going to be a Tottenham.
I get that. But Roman is the high end of the spectrum of the money cap you had before. You only can go down basically unless you get bought out like Newcastle again, which is rare.
Yeah, it's fair. It'll be interesting.
Shout out to Tottenham tanking in the FA Cup today. I think they just wanted to focus on their top 4 push, get some games off the fixtures, losing to a championship side.
Yeah.
But I think we kind of come to expect that. Bryce, did you
play like a championship side? You deserve to lose to a championship side. That's all I got to say.
I was gonna say we got the Man U supporter over there. How you're the Middlesbrough experience too? That's
Conte.
That's rough.
If you listen to what he's saying,
sounds defeated.
He's doing what Jose does, but in a different strategy. So I think he's realized the brevity of the situation of the job at hand, and he's trying to already distance himself or exonerate himself, from any blame. So Jose would put the players under the bus. Conte is doing it in a more professional way.
No,
He's putting, yeah.
I
And
know
it's-
exactly what you're referring to. The way he basically refers or speaks to the people outside, makes decisions above him at the club and says my performance is worthy of firing. Yeah.
Imagine saying that at work, bro.
Right. Saying that not only to your manager, to every person on your email chain. Every
Yep.
person in the world could see that video. It wasn't like he said it
Yeah.
behind doors like, Levy, I think you should fire me. He literally said it to the public, like you said, as a way to absolve his ability as a manager here. I'm not the problem. My players are, but I'm going to put it on me respectfully. Understand what you're saying, and it's such a shame to see that. It breaks your heart, man.
I have a question though, Spurs. Is it the players just not good enough? Is that a problem?
Yes and no.
Interesting.
So we have players that are well good enough in some positions.
Yeah,
and
like
then
your
there's
attack.
Yes, well,
Yeah.
the attack specifically, Lloris is good enough. He's, been doing it for years. He makes stupid errors. We talked about this before, but he also will save the team sometimes, and he is a good leader at the back. So I'll take Lloris, I'll take Kane, I'll take Son, I'll take Højbjerg if he plays a different role. But a lot of the players that do things well on the pitch are not playing a role that suits them, for one, trying to fit into Conte's system, and two, some of the players just are not up to standard. You really want to get into the names? I've already
Man,
mentioned a few on
I'm
here.
seeing Ryan Sessegnon starts in games now. It's very interesting. Does he not like Regulon anymore? What was going on over there?
Regulon picked up a little knock, and
Oh.
then Conte also realized he can't fucking defend for anything.
Yep.
So,
And then Emerson Royale is like
oh my, don't even get. I don't even
he
want to
looks
talk about it.
he
right
looks
now.
like when you do the eye tests, he looks like he could be good. He's fast. About it, I think. His crossing is horrible.
I was gonna say when I do the eye test on him, he looks like someone that's gangly and uncoordinated, like has never figured out how to use their feet properly. Like,
Like
he
Wan
literally,
Bissaka.
he just
like
kicks the ball at
Sissoko.
random.
Yeah. I know we talked a little bit about this last week. I think, like Bryce said, some of the players are great, but the system in place just doesn't get the best of what you have. And Conte is so like fixated on this 5 in the back, wing back formation, but you need the wing backs to be able to play it. Like Chelsea has Alonso, Reece James, they can play it. Liverpool has a Robertson, Trent Alexander-Arnold. We could play 5 in the back if it's something we wanted to do. But then, like, you're playing 5 in the back when your defense is probably the worst aspect of your team. And you're like, I think a 4-3-3 makes much more sense, or even like a 4-2-3-1, where when you're in this 5 in the back right now, also like Højbjerg is being played as a pivot, like a number 8 midfielder, where he has to, go between the lines, progress the ball, maybe take on a man. And he looked so out of his depth there. And when Mourinho brought him in, he looked like one of the signings of the season, just kind
Yep.
of sitting
He
on the back
was. He
floor,
made the most
protecting
tackles
that.
last year.
He
Yeah,
was
so-
solid.
It's just like, what are you thinking, Conte? Like, I know you have your style, but you have to adjust to an extent, at least until you can bring in the players that you want.
I think the issue is, if you really look at like the on paper of how the team should work and the signings he has and the players he has, you're like, how does this team not actually perform? Because Emerson Royale, like, we brought him in. If you actually look at like, what he's done in the past at Venice before we signed him, he's that run down the winger, but he also can get stuck in. He did this in La Liga for one season. We brought him in on this premise that he can do it. Now he's in the Prem in a completely different area, a completely different league, and it's completely out of his depth. And when you're out of your depth and you're trying to do things in a system like Conte's that's so demanding, and the Premier League is so fast that one little mistake gets magnified so quick. We have defenders. Romero is an amazing defender. His aggression is out of this world. And honestly, I hate Ben Davies. He's a good left-sided defender. He shouldn't be playing center back. All these things look good, and then they go out on the pitch, and the second something goes wrong, the players have egos. I can see it out there. And they start playing egotistical. They get mad at trying to like be in this system. They break out of it sometimes. And then it all falls apart. Højbjerg runs up and down the pitch 80 yards like you're talking about, trying to carry the ball, and nothing works anymore. It's uniform chaos.
And the midfield, I see Harry Winks. He's like, you guys are missing Skip. Is he injured? I think so.
He is. He was the thing I was hoping for this season to change that midfield around because there's nothing in it. I can't go on about Spurs. It's abysmal to watch right now.
Who's next?
I'll still support them though.
Liverpool. There's not much to say there.
Yeah, so we could talk about the weekend matchups for everyone in here.
Oh,
I know
yeah.
Chelsea's playing Burnley, so I'm coming at Forest right now. What do you think Burnley's doing this weekend against my Blues?
I think they're gonna win. 1-0. Easy.
1-0. Okay. I'm thinking it's like a 3-0 win, Chelsea. Maybe Lukaku masterclass. He needs it bad. He needs it real bad. But I'll go to the next one. We have Liverpool playing West Ham, so Harry and
Ooh.
Parker.
That's
Wow,
interesting.
yeah, that's a tricky fixture. I think we lost. We won that earlier in the year, if I'm not mistaken.
lost
but I
like
know we
3-2.
lost. Yeah.
It was a close game. Are you sure we won that? I don't even know if we did.
Yeah, I think
But,
you guys lost 3-2.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think that was our loss, but
Yeah.
they play well versus us. For real.
Yeah, I'd have to say if it's at Anfield, I'd say we win it, but not by a few goals. I think it'll be a close, like within 1 goal win.
Yep, it's at Anfield.
What a turnaround from West Ham! Like,
Oh,
Buddy
wow.
Moyes was
and
like
then-
this banter manager, and then now he's like a top 4 pushing. But sorry, Trey, continue.
I'm gonna go to the next one. I didn't even realize this was this weekend. We got a Manchester derby. What are you thinking about that, Koku?
Man. Well, we are facing Pep, who knows he's in a title race. It's not gonna go well.
I think anything can happen in a Manchester derby.
Yeah, but
Man, you could get the upset.
Follow Tottenham's way.
I don't think we're gonna park the bus. So, that's how we've managed to do it in the past. Sit deep, spring them on the counter. But then again, I think slowly I'm seeing ways to beat Man City. I think Arsenal in the first half against them give us a blueprint. And then even like a Spurs, honestly, just block the passing lanes from their centre backs and press their midfielders. And I think you can get a Man City. But that being said, we'll be able to do it? I have no idea. 1-1, just a 1-1 draw, respectable.
I see that.
Yeah, I can see that
Yes.
happening too.
Respectable.
I hope Manchester United pull it out of the bag.
Oh,
Ronaldo 90
Fingers
plus 2.
crossed.
Everton.
This will be one of the only times you got the rest of the league cheering for Man United in the
Yeah,
game.
honestly.
So
Everton
I
should
guess
have gotten
we'll
the
move-
point. Oh
yeah, Everton. I was gonna say the
Let's
next
not
game.
get started on that.
Tottenham, Everton, Bryce. What are we thinking?
So I was gonna
Lampard
say,
masterclass.
if you asked me what game we were playing without telling me the teams playing, I wouldn't have been able to tell you because after this week you can't blame me. So, Everton's a free falling team. Got gypped last week on some points as we saw.
I think they'll come out firing.
Everton,
Yeah.
yeah, I think so
Yeah.
too. 4-1 Spurs though.
Oof.
Oh, that's a big win.
Yeah, okay.
All right.
I think the offense finds something against this Everton team that really doesn't know what they're doing yet. They're still finding themselves, and I think we pick them apart on the counter, get a few, and then have them open and play through them.
Yeah, and it doesn't get easy for Frank Lampard at all.
No.
Jeez.
Yeah, he's
He
up
was
The
against
relegation zone.
He was my favorite for sacking 2 weeks ago before Bielsa went, actually. So
Rodgers hanging on by a thread. I was thinking, I saw that Lampard interview after the last game, and like they totally got gypped out of a point. If not, I mean, they deserved a point from that game. That handball was total BS. But he said he was like, don't look at the table for the next 2 to 3 weeks, and I like respect that because I think like so many managers come in and they expect instant results, especially for these clubs that are like kind of all over the place. He really is up against it, and like if Everton gets relegated, and I think they would sack him before that was like, I mean they're tiptoeing, but he might like never recover if that happens on his watch. Like he'd probably have to go back to the championship.
It's interesting that they brought him in because I feel like he has championship experience at Derby County. I'm wondering if when if they do go down, if they just keep him. He knows his way around the land. Or even to think that Everton will get relegated is serious. They're like Man U, but just worse run. Like worse. Like We're going to start on Everton because my brother's an Everton fan, and he cries every day whenever I call him because yeah,
We've
man,
spoken on the disarray of that club before. We know their
Yeah, they're
net
big
spend.
spenders. Yeah, they're
We
big
were also
spenders.
saying how we believe they're the most boring team in the Prem. You never expect to see them at the top of the table, nor the bottom, though. This is more entertaining than they have been, solely because they're shittier than usual.
yeah, some
They're
drama
getting
this
ready
time.
for
Right.
You see these big players in the team. I mean, like Iwobi, Dele Alli, Richarlison. Just players that
Everyone-
you're like, how is that club fighting for relegation? It's
Everyone
kinda
I
sad.
think-
you just mentioned is a terrible attitude player, though.
Yeah.
It's just a team
interesting
of
'cause
misfits.
I don't think they have players who even can fathom that they're in a relegation battle. This is going to be the main problem.
Are you saying
That's
with their
so
play style? I agree. Everton.
Nah,
look,
like even like they have players that have some egos. Like, Richarlison, Calvert-Lewin. Look at my boy Van de Beek. And I'm sure he's looking around and he's asking, how did I get here?
I just want to play.
Like, how did I leave Ajax, come to Man U, and now I'm in a relegation scrap to Everton?
Yeah, now you're
Everybody
living in the
wanted
shit
to.
part of Liverpool.
Like Madrid was
Man.
going to pay like 50 mil for Van de Beek, and now, yeah, look at him.
So
Dele Alli, 100 million man at one point. Pickford,
now
England's number
they
one.
brought Lampard, who's experienced in the Premier League. Isn't anything to write home about because with Chelsea, I don't know, Trey, like when Lampard was at Chelsea, right? People were like, there was this narrative and he was leading Chelsea to a new era. And there was a project he was leading Chelsea into. Like, really, Chelsea, they just finished like third the season before. You sure what project Lampard is come to do here? No, I don't know. Now Tuchel came and then he actually made us see how bad Lampard was.
Yeah,
I don't know.
definitely.
Him.
And just
That's
seeing
him.
how Tuchel used that same squad, and I don't know. I hope Lampard can figure it out because if he messes up with Everton, if they get relegated, like how many people are going to give him another chance?
No one. Be like Harry
They're two
Redknapp.
big clubs with big budgets, and you got no results. Like that's not a good look.
Well, Koku, I just wanted to say thank you for coming on here today. It's been a pleasure having you, for
Yeah.
one.
Oh yeah.
And secondly, I know we put you on the spot a lot today. I'll get one more closing prediction from you since we might not hear from you again shortly. Where do you think Man United in this 4-8 race at this season?
Oh, I think we have enough in the bag. Finish
For
fourth.
fourth? Okay.
Yeah, because I mean we're currently fourth, and I mean I know teams have some games in hand and all that. But let me even look at the table right now.
Arsenal.
West Ham.
Just look at
Come
Arsenal
on.
for real.
Arsenal.
I
Only real
really
people.
think
Yeah.
they're
Up. So if any team is to pep us to it, it's Arsenal because one game a week. Come on, man. They should even. I'm even shocked that they're not third right now. I think we just have enough because if we don't finish fourth, it's a disaster. No Champions League money.
Do you think Ronaldo leaves?
We played ourselves by signing Ronaldo because I feel like Ronaldo knew goes to Man U, no one is going to sack him. And so he can legit freeload off us for the next 2 to 3 years.
We're
That's
hoping
my
that
goal.
he goes to DC
Yeah.
United and finishes his career in the MLS where he can score 30 a season and have fun.
And he's gonna, so we made a bad decision. He's gonna freeload us because I doubt, Darren Fletcher is not gonna go to Ronaldo, dude. I think you need to leave. No way. So Ronaldo is gonna, he's gonna call the shots. Unfortunately, I don't know how I feel about that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it'll
we
be
did talk
interesting to
about-
see how Man U develops. Is there any other closing thoughts from anyone else? Or should we
Thought on
outro?
what
I mean-
Koku said there about the wage structure at United. I think there's so many like freeloaders, and like I see Salah who's demanding to be one of the highest paid players in the league, which he deserves, and like he's making less than like Mata or Matic.
that was
These
the
players
first
that you
name
just
on my
don't even
docket.
see.
Motto.
Yeah, it's just insane. So no, I think Ronaldo, they run the risk of that, and like you said, he's just such a big personality. He's a legend there. I don't know what they can do, but do you think if he had gone to City that it would have tarnished his his legacy at United?
Yes, I don't think present day, not present day. I don't think I personally wouldn't have cared too much because it would have tarnished his image if he was a man and went to Man City. But this dude left, celebrated against us when he was playing for Juve. So I think because imagine he was a man when he was a kid, and he's gone through so much since he left. He's had children, married, he so much. So Manu, I feel like was a distant memory for him. That's just how I feel. And then I don't know. I tarnished the image. It was just an ego thing with Fergie and Ole. Also, it's Ronaldo. I think that's a problem. He was one of the best, or he's one of the best. So it's like, man, Ronaldo is available. Why don't we get him and go for the league? I think that's how they were thinking. But
The problem with bringing in someone that has performed well at your club before, and especially Ronaldo, who obviously performed at the world class level, is there's really only one direction he can trend. He really can only disappoint you. Let's be honest here. He would have to bang in 30 goals like he's been doing every year at the age of 39, 38 or whatever he is now, which is unrealistic and unexpectable just for you to be happy and for him to enhance his legacy at the club. He could only disappoint if you realistically put the parameters into place. So,
and he came to the worst league he could come to for his age. I think that's his problem too. Yeah. But just a quick, you have a question. So Man City, Liverpool, looking like a 2-horse race. Which you guys is money on? I guess I can't ask the Liverpool fans because they're buyers, but
you want
I don't know,
the
that
you want the
yeah,
neutral
neutral.
opinion?
Yeah.
So it still sits at one game. Are you guys thinking 2 games back, 6 points down, or is it 3 points, 1 game in hand?
They're down 6 points.
We're down one.
game.
We're down 6 points. We've got 1 game in hand,
Okay,
but we
gotcha.
also need to
Understood.
play Man
Understood.
City.
Okay, so you're down 6. You're 2 games back right now. Played. Okay.
Pretty much, yeah.
So I think Man City win it, and it's not due to Liverpool's performance or lack of performance. I think those points City dropped to Tottenham are too few and far between.
Yeah. City's definitely a machine. I mean, I would like to see Liverpool maybe make a push into the first, but at the same time, I don't really care who wins out of those two.
I think Liverpool can win it. They have a
Liverpool's form is pristine. So
pretty.
My money's
Yeah.
on
Keep that
Liverpool
up.
quadruple, Carabao Cup, FA Cup, Premier League, Champions League. We're doing it all.
Yeah, they have the potential for
Tin Pot Cup.
All
That's what I
4 of
feel.
all
them.
the Cubs. I mean,
Mickey
Things I
Mouse
feel
Cup.
for I feel for Liverpool fans because the best era you guys have seen in ages just came at a bad time. Came with Pep and the oil money, and I feel is because you guys have done it. You guys like there should be a case study on Liverpool because that's the way to organically grow your club. That was spending shit ton of money. So the data, strategic. It's just unfortunate that like I know that and I think Klopp knows he doesn't want his legacy to be a Premier League and a Champions League.
Yeah, I think he wants to do a kind of at least the treble this year. I think he wants to do. He wants to win the FA Cup and he wants to win Champions League or Premier League.
I know,
But
like,
even last.
even a
No,
few
go ahead.
seasons ago, we had set the record point haul in the Premier League and still finished second. City. And there's been a few seasons where we're like 98, 99 points and getting second when there's years teams have won the league on like 70 some points. So no, I think that is hilarious. You mentioned that. And this is one thing I thought of talking about Ronaldo's legacy. Like I know you're Ghanaian, Koku. What, like remember Adebayor celebrating in front of the Arsenal fans with that slide?
Yeah.
I would have paid to see Ronaldo hit like a see after scoring on Man United or something. That would have been awesome.
That guy. I think Ronaldo is very thinking about any club. He has a huge ego. You even sees on the pitch.
Yeah, he
There's
said
some player.
Oh yeah, his body
he
language.
said he was worth
that thing?
like a few seasons ago. He said he was worth like 80 million pounds or something still. And then
I don't know.
a year or two later, he gets transferred like 15, 20 million.
I don't know, because I feel like to be as good as Ronaldo has been, yes, you need to be a serious narcissist, and that's just who he is. Yeah, he doesn't give a fuck. Honestly, to me, he doesn't care about any of his teammates. He just cares about if he can score enough goals, to win Ballon d'Or again. I think that was his vision. Come to Man U,
Yeah.
win the Champions League or Prem, and then win Ballon d'Or. He didn't care about Man U. I think just last question for my end, Trey. So Chelsea, I kind of disappointed that you guys couldn't like mount actual title challenge, or do you feel like your team is just too far behind?
Yeah, I think that this year we're probably a little too far behind to really make a push for the Premier League. But I mean, next year hopefully get some new signings. I'm not sure
You
how
guys have
this is
you
all
guys
going
have
to play
attacking
out.
problems.
Yeah, I mean, we create chances. Like I swear, we create plenty of chances every game, but we cannot finish them for some reason.
What was the main
But
problem? Like it's not like you guys have invested in Timo, Kaku.
Timo
Why
did
aren't
well
they
today.
just why aren't they why is their output so low? I never seem to figure it out.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like every time we get a new striker, it's like their confidence just gets shattered the second they come to the club. Like Havertz,
I
Werner,
miss Morata.
Lukaku, like yeah, Morata. Like the list goes on forever. How many like class strikers we've had and ruined,
Right.
not
Chelsea,
ruined, but like
Chelsea, Chelsea is a team that struggles from playing too good of football. You never know exactly where their goal will come from. Like you'll see Marcus Alonso get up and have two key chances a game sometimes, like the system works that everybody can get included. So a lot of these strikers that come in, you saw Lukaku was the focal point in the first weeks of the season. They were playing the ball into him and playing right through him. And it was working until teams were like, "Oh, this is all Chelsea's going to do." Teams have to adapt. Chelsea has world-class wingers, strikers, players everywhere. Havertz is a false nine that can come in. You can get goals from everywhere. And when you have that system and the striker knows, I don't need to go out there and do this, their main intention isn't sometimes go get the goal, it's to help the team succeed, which is a good thing. But then you get these selfish strikers who struggle with, not going months without a goal because social
exactly.
media we've talked about before will slander them. They're massive signings. They may play amazing. You don't go out there and put that ball in the back of the net, you're worth fuck all.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
that's why I
they've
think
been
like Havertz goes in and he plays so well because he's more willing to go back. Like Lukaku, when he goes forward and he loses the ball, he's jogging back to the midfield line and then
He's
waiting
pissed.
for the next one.
I
Like
wasted
it's
my energy.
yeah, it's just
Yeah.
I don't know. I hope he can figure it out because I think he has the potential to be good in the Prem, but
And you look at like a
we'll see.
Liverpool, for example, like no one expects 20 for a season from Firmino. And while he's maybe getting phased out, like he's done so much for the team over the last few years that just doesn't go on the stat sheet, but he's still loved by the fans. There's not talk of getting him out the club. He's not doing these interviews either where he's like, I want to go back to Italy. I want to go back to Germany in his case. So I think that's a big part of it. Like you said, like the ego and his play style just, it was a strange signing, to be honest, in my opinion, because it didn't really fit the Gergen press system that Tuchel plays. I thought that was strange. And like Timo, I like his movement. I think he does everything right until like the finish. So if you could like combine the two, I mean that would be like a
They
Frankenstein
need to
freaky
fuse like
god of a
Dragon Ball.
striker. Literally.
Regretful signings is the story of every team's life, man. Again, we would like to thank Koku for coming out here. Again, check out his podcast, Checking VAR. Our hearts go out to all the Man U fans who have to endure both through this Manchester derby this weekend and the rest of the season. We pray for you. And thank you again for tuning in and helping us set the tone with episode 5 of the Early Booking Podcast.